Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from 80 to 205E and our group will present about sustainable planting materials where the group members is Fairuz Nadia binti Lataju, Nur Halimatun binti Abdul Manab and Nurul Izzati binti Prasad.
We go to the introduction first. The demand for palm oil has been steadily rising in recent decades. According to UNCTAD 2016, the world population was about 7.3 billion in 2015, and by 2030 it is projected to hit 8.5 billion, which translates into an increase of 16.4% in 13 years. Against this backdrop, demand for palm oil and other oils and fat in order to feed the rising population is expected to rise at a similar rate. The production of palm oil is, however, subject to the availability of adequate planting areas. MPOB 2018 stated that the growth of palm oil production in Malaysia is decelerating due to limited arable land. One of the ideas to increase palm oil production within the limited area is to grow planting materials with higher yields.
Okay, the first content is the challenges in productions of sustainable planting material, which is the first one is variety creation techniques, where nowadays there is many techniques that have been done to improve the oil palm seeds. However, farmer, especially smallholder, has no access to a public or professional organizations to get the reliable information on the production's potential or on the resistance of the various planting materials to a certain disease of seeds that provided in the market. And the second one is the crucial selection criteria, where the main selection criteria are the productivity in productions of good planting material, and it's possible to find seeds on the market that have been selected for a specific criteria. However, it may have sometimes become decisive in some regions as the climatic conditions is not same with your productions region. And the last one is the technical quality of productions, where identifying a good cross in genetic improvements programs is not enough because this genetic progress also needs to be incorporated as quickly as possible in the seed production. The next content is the solutions to achieve the sustainable planting material, which is the first one. It must have a good nursery management, where the production of good oil palm planting material is fully dependent on attention to details at all stages in the nursery, and this entails a following closely proven standards and procedure. And the second one is to choose a reputable seed provider, where there is a strategy that was designed by PT Sokfindo in order to choose a reputable seed provider, where it must have creations and maintenance of the genetic resources, a permanent variety creations, the continuous exploitations of the creations, and lastly a non-stop improvements of the seed productions. And the last one is to improving genetic control on the seeds. A genetic control strategy needs to be developed because in order to get a good planting material, it must be free from any pest and disease.
Okay, next is the importance of sustainable planting material. As we know that the seeds or the planting material of a crop are very important to produce the crop production. It is because the seeds as the good interact with the good environment around it. The good and sustainable planting material can improve the yield performance, and also it will adapt to the oil palm planting material as the key input to achieve the several issues such as the commitment to the long-term economic. Next is the planting material improvement. The improvement of the planting material for a long term. For your information, the improvement of the planting material are based on the recurrent reciprocal scheme, where it introducing the following result of experience international in 1950s. In the year 1950 and 60, the first cycle are improved, and then it continuing for the second cycle from 1970s until the last millennium. And then during the period of time, yield of the oil palm production are increasing and the height of the oil palm also reducing. The most important is the resistance towards the fusarium wilt has been improved. Besides, to improve the planting material, we need to transfer of the genetic improvement. The performance of the planting material are influencing the number of the yield produced. If the performance of the planting material are good, it will lead to enhance for the commercial yield and then will transfer for the genetic improvement. There are several guidelines to make the genetic improvement transfer, which are by doing the variety creation strategy. Besides, make more rigorous selection criteria and full integration of the genetic process within the commercial planting material. After that, guarantee of the tunnera nature of the planting material, and lastly, control the access of the customer to genuine seeds. And lastly, conducts the sub-window breeding program for high yield. For your information, the sub-window breeding programs are started in the year 1920s for the planting material of oil palm to achieve high yield. There are several steps of the sub-window breeding strategy for producing higher yield, where the first one are creation and maintenance of the genetic resources, besides the permanent variety creation. Then makes continuous exploitation of the creation. And the last one, we are doing non-stop improvement of the commercial seeds production.
Economic feasibility of clonal oil palm planting material. Alright, let's see to the first point. Oil palm vegetative propagation through tissue culture was considered a potential technology to rapidly track the development of elite palms. Vegetative propagation using the tissue culture technique is basically a method of plant regeneration whereby cuttings from a parent plant are grown to produce more plants known as clones on synthetic media. According to Ong Abdullah and others, 2018 has stated that, as evident by the total output of remeds in 2015, where they accounted for just less than 10% of the total production of oil palm seeds for that year, the use of oil palm clonal planting materials has not yet had a major effect on the industry. The benefit of clonal planting materials should not be denied, considering the unfavorable uptake of the industry. Among the key challenges in promoting the use of oil palm clonal material on a larger scale are the inefficiency of the tissue culture method and the possibility of fruit mantling and other somaclonal variation. Performance of oil palm clonal planting materials. The oil yield from the planting material was projected to increase by at least 30% in the early years of clonal oil palm. The clonal palm is also capable of raising the FFB yield in addition to increase in oil yield. The FFB yield and oil yield of the clonal oil palm are 40% and 50% higher, respectively, compared to the yield of standard DXP materials, given favorable soil and rainfall conditions and coupled with good management practices. And then, according to Alwi 2018, has stated that clonal oil palm planting materials production in Malaysia was estimated at about 6.77 million remeds as of 2015. Assuming that the production of remed increases every year by 10%, it is projected to be about 8.19 million by 2017. As it depends on the availability of OTET, the extension of remed output is limited. To increase the production, a large number of OTET will be needed.
As the conclusion, the planting material of the oil palm are important as the improvement for the sustainable agriculture context, the smallholder and also the agro-industrialist a necessity to provide a certain guarantee when the seeds or planting material are purchased. Although all the difficulty to identify of a simple and clear indicator of the value and the quality of the planting material, the constant commercial yield improvement remains a key factor in maintaining the sustainability of the oil palm industry. Lastly, the breeder should be able to monitor the distribution change through molecular characteristics of the plants they breed. All these tools should be soon make it possible to guarantee the quality of the planting material offered to growers.